Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle book review of The Amazing Spider-Man. Now this is an epic collection, Marvel epic collection, came out in 2014, quite a few years ago now. Well, 8 years ago, blimey. However, great power by Stan Lee and Ditko, and of course others as well. Now it's about 500 pages in this. This is volume 1, 1962 to 1964, and it's got all, of course, the origin. It's also got the first appearances of Daily Bugle, Jonah Jameson, Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, and many others, and includes the Amazing Fantasy 15, Amazing Spider-Man 1 to 17, and annual number 1. So let's just go through the book. So 500 pages, all in colour, brilliant work, all the way through Ditko. Now I've also got the Omnibus edition there. You can see obviously it's slightly smaller than the Omnibus, and also I've got the Taschen one as well. And so I'll probably be getting rid of this one. But I thought that's why I'm going to do a review of it quickly. Just going to go through it. Brilliant cover, of course, from the annual Sinister Six. And now they always do this sort of like, obviously this is not Ditko's colouring, etc. So it's all been done up, but still. The list there, you can see the list is slightly smaller. You can see volume 1 there and then volume 15. Well, since then, there's been quite a few. Obviously, it filled up volume 2, volume 3 and many others. You've got the same on there. So you can see Amazing Spider-Man again. And then you've got all the content. And also you've got the details of all the various people involved. So Steve Ditko there, Art Simek, Sam Rosen, etc. And all the various stories. And it also includes lots of posters, various bits of like Amazing Fantasy original artwork. Really great, as well as all these issues. And you can see all the different dates from April 64, May 64, etc. And straight into the stories. So you've got here Amazing Fantasy 15. You've got all the covers. Now you don't have the letters pages. You don't have any of the other stuff that often was in these issues, which is a pity. I love old Spidey there, slightly different. But of course you've got the origin, you've got Peter Parker there. Peter Parker is Midtowns. I love it was Midtown at that point. Midtown. And you've got here, also you have the job code as well, which is always good. Quality is great. Now the colour has been restored, re-cleaned up and all that sort of stuff. Some people don't like it, modern style of colouring. I guess it's great for the digital, but online. But still, many ways, after seeing the Taschen book, which has just come out, it's really quite nice seeing the original artwork done as it was, instead of just being coloured up and changed and tweaked. But still, this is really amazing. And you've got obviously Peter Parker climbing the building. Oh, that's the last horror movie. Really? How many kids get taken to a horror movie? What sort of horror movie was that? Anyway, I never got to take to a horror movie when I was that age. But still, you've got Spidey there battling away as wrestling. He would have made a fortune doing that. And you've got part 2. I love the way they always had this sort of thing, part 2. The leg looks really odd. I'm not saying it is, but is it? Is that possible, that leg? Anyway, I suppose Spidey can stretch his leg in all kinds of directions. However, fan page. I love always that fan page. Great stuff. A little bit of text there. And you order all the various things. Unfortunately, no room in this issue for lots of people to put their various, you get the names, etc. and locations. Always lovely, that sort of thing. Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Now, this is one thing that's not included in this volume, which is odd. It's the Fantastic Four annual number 1, where it's a variant story of this one. And also the Strange Tales issue 2 is not included in this as well, which is very odd. It's a very unusual story, that one with the fox. I said it wrong when one of my videos, I said it was the wizard. It was the fox. It looks very similar, but it's the fox. Character that I don't think has ever turned up ever again. Nor can't think of any character called Foxman or Fox or anything. So, Chameleon Strikes. Got Fantastic Four. And then, of course, got... I love this one because you've got, obviously, the Jonah Jameson there. My boy, he's safe. And you learn a bit about, obviously, Jonah Jameson, obviously a character that the Daily Bugle that's going to appear constantly and harangue poor old. And yet at the same time, I always think there was a father-son relationship between the characters. There was it was definitely Peter Parker. I mean, saying that, Peter Parker, I don't know why he worked with him, because at the end of the day, he was always terrible. But still, Chameleon. I always thought that it would be nice if he developed, instead of photos, he should have done a drone. So he could have sort of video drone, and he would have made a fortune, YouTube tutorials or whatever, videos and stuff. Those sort of things. Actually, that would be really good as well. Spidey doing tutorials, as well as showing how he battles various people like Dr. Octopus. This is how I defeated him. The trouble is, I suppose Doc Ock would then watch him and think, yeah, I'm going to do something slightly different next time. So I'm going to beat you. And of course, Spidey would work out another way of doing it. And there he is, of course, Chameleon. I love the Chameleon. Character that just didn't really turn up too often, but still, I love the initial bit where he's there in the scene there with the coppers. And you can see the tear there in his shirt. However, the true brilliant classic villain of all time for Spidey was in that next bit, the Tinkerer. No, he didn't turn up very often afterwards, but still, what a great character. Was he an alien? I always thought the creatures there, I suppose they were sort of like standards from the sort of Ditko, Kirby sort of villains that were the monster ones, monster books. But I don't think they ever turned up, not like Badoon or the Kree or whatever. These characters obviously, maybe they did. They're probably in like villains in the background, in sort of Thanos' group of interstellar rogues. And then you've got Doc Ock, of course. Love Doc Ock. And but at the same time, at this point, he was his most powerful. I always felt that quite often in these stories, a lot of the villains, they went downhill. There was a sort of graduation of losing their powers, or sort of just basically they were really amazing in the first issue, and afterwards they didn't seem to actually develop their powers. You always think to yourself, why didn't you spend a lot more time practicing, learning things that, you would be, do better? So you beat Spidey, but no, they always just use the same sort of techniques and lose each time. Anyway, Sandman. Actually, the Sandman one is one of the best covers. Also, you've got a poster. Love posters. Something they don't do too often now, but they're always great. Special surprise, bonus Spidey. I wonder how many kids sort of rip those out and put those on the wall. I did, I know. So, wrecked many a comic by doing that. However, look at that lovely panels there. I just love it. And there's very few done like that. Rawhide Kid, issue 25, 125. I did a quick search to try and find some other ones like this. Very few have been done this way. It's very unusual. I'm certain people put in the comments saying, no, there's like this issue, that issue. But still, love Spidey. He's like even repairing his thing. And I love the bit there, Sandman, he could use his turn into a key. Very useful. At least he's never locked out of home if he forgets his keys. He can always just obviously make the key up very quickly. Very, very handy. And of course there he is, Sand, and he's sort of very convinced he's not going to have any problems. Well, don't want to spoil what happens, of course. There is old Doc Doom. I love the crossover ones. Basically, this is a crossover story. You've got Doc Doom. Now, very rarely, Sandman did turn up in Fantastic Four, etc. I don't think Sandman ever turned up. He's obviously a mutant character, I suppose. You think he would have turned up in the X-Men, but he never did, which is weird. That would always the thing that slightly bugged me. Why didn't Sandman turn up in like Daredevil or Thor occasionally? I certainly would have done a great job against those. And each character would have to then learn how to beat Sandman in different ways, of course. Probably all result in exactly the same technique that Spidey used in the first one. So you've got here face-to-face with the Lizard. Absolute Dr. Connor there. And again, written by, obviously, Lee, Ditko, lettered by Artie Semick. Never said the colourer. Don't know who was the colourer, person that coloured it. Maybe it said at the front, I don't know. Now, Spider-Man, you saved me from those gunmen there, just there. My pleasure was mine. Great stuff. Betty Brant, of course. And, Jameson, of course, getting there. You wouldn't dare, of course. The robot. I love the robot. Robot was great. Now, that robot character, those sort of things turned up quite a lot afterwards. Electro, of course, next story. Absolutely brilliant there. Absolutely superb. Matt Dillon. Was it Matt Dillon? Something like that. And, of course, there's Spidey, and it's just sad. But at the same time, Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, all those sort of stories. And you can all see it. Unmasked by Dr. Octopus. That was just a classic. Just brilliant. The latest, greatest suit. Spider-Man, spectacular. You've got that story there. And you've also got, I love the belt. I love the fact he's even got his little picture on his belt. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Put a picture of it. Just make certain you know it's your belt. You might make a mistake, mightn't you? Mysterio. Now he's a great character. No, he turned up in some of my favourite ones. The Hulk. Of course, another bit of a crossover there. They did quite a lot of these crossovers. Love that one with the Hulk. Now, there's a bit of a slightly wrong-sided battle there, but I love the fact that Spidey was quick, and of course the Hulk could easily beat Spidey any day. But even looked like Craven could at some point. I mean, he's pretty strong as well. Look at that. You got the classic annual, of course, and also some spectacular pages there. Why they wasted it with these, I don't know why they put these on. It would have been nice if they'd put some like original art or some bonus material or something, but they put that. Don't know why. However, Amazing Spider-Man, the greatest annual probably of all time. Lots of people will argue Fantastic Four, number 3 annual, perhaps. Of course, I suppose if you're a Thor fan, you'd put Journey to Mystery, number 1 annual maybe. But Amazing Spider-Man, I loved the way he did that multicoloured as well. Didn't even just go for a standard cover. The title, that was just brilliant. 72 big pages, not small pages, but big pages. Just classic. Of course, you got Electro. Now that would have been the real thing. But however, slightly confusing because of course that never really happened. They were all really more separate stories, but it was still great. I just loved it. And of course the classic front bit there, just brilliant. Of course, loses his powers. How convenient. What a problem. But I love it. And also I love the fact, again, yet crossover there. Not really a crossover, but still a crossover in all things, because obviously it wasn't the real X-Men. It was a highly developed robots. Again, something that Doc Ock and all those sort of people never used again. Why didn't they use it? It was obviously very effective. However, great story though. And also you've got these posters. I love these posters. Something they don't do. I would love to see them more often. I don't know if they've got, they've got the Enforcers, of course, Mysterio. I don't know if the Terrible Tinker is in it, but he should be. No, Secrets of Spider-Man. Just classic. You learn a bit about Spidey. Great opportunity for yet another origin story. The Spider. Just, well, and also you learn a little bit about all the various powers he's got there and various things he can do. Many of the things he never does ever. I don't think he's ever used as a shield. Has he ever used his spider? I think you've got a scene there, look at that, Spidey with a web. And parachute. I think he might have done that. I can't think of one. A safety net, that's another one. As a club, now that'd be quite good. See, all that sort of thing. A ball. Or plain, simple, sticky glue. I think probably did that one. A barrier. I suspect he's done that one. But still, some of these, I'm certain he doesn't. And of course got the classmates, etc. And that's, unfortunately, he doesn't actually name them, which is a pity, because it would be nice. Some of these characters, I don't know who she is. Obviously, just looking on at Flash, obviously showing off, compared with obviously Spidey, who wasn't going to do that. Next one is the Ringmaster, and then the Goblin. You've got the Goblin story. Good old Goblin there. And you've got more characters, obviously, there. Yeah. Good old Liz. And of course Human Torch. Loads of, and even better in this. This is the best bit. One of the, however, the Taschen book that I've just got has the pages completely clean. But for some weird reason in this, they've gone for tinting it. There's a slightly purple tint. Now I don't know, maybe it's just my copy, but it's just odd why they went for that. And also why they just didn't go for full page instead of having a border around it. And probably put the text down here, some text explaining all the various things. If they could have put that in the front of it, would have been nice. But it's just odd that they went for this purple tint. And you've got some other covers as well. So this book is just brilliant. I love this epic collection. Absolutely. It has been superseded now by the Taschen book, without a shadow of a doubt. And of course the omnibus edition as well. But this one I was keeping mainly because of course of the original art. The original art was something that I really wanted it for, but now, of course, with the Taschen book having the same. Oh, so Epic Collection, Amazing Spider-Man. I love all the Epic Collections. They've been really good. Only a few are missing now, I think, of the Silver Age. There's real obvious one. Captain Marvel comes to mind. Captain Marvel, why haven't they released one yet? And also Captain Savage is another one that comes to mind. Of course, quite a few Sergeant Furies also, and of course, Millie the Model, Patsy Walker, etc. I somehow suspect that I will be holding my breath for a long time if I wait for those. But still, it would be nice if they did bring those out. Still, this one, absolutely brilliant. Great Power by Lee and Ditko. Spider-Man Epic Collection #1.